you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, can you?
Amazing. Yeah, I can see you and hear you. How's it going?
Quite good, yeah. Finished work about an hour ago. All good. How are you?
Nice. Yeah, not bad. It's just too hot. Like this weather's good, but it's too hot for me.
I'm not in London, but yeah, I heard it's it's very hot.
The thing, I don't know, there's something about British weather where when it's hot, it's just like super humid and constantly you feel sticky.
Yeah,
Where are you?
I'm in Rome, so it's
Okay.
very hot as well. But I guess everyone has got AC, air conditioning, so we're just a little bit more prepared for it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And is Rome home for you?
Yeah, actually London is, but now I'm back here. I think Rome is a better place to be in the summer, so I always come back.
Smart move. Fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
before we kick things off, I just want to say, thank you for taking the time to join me on this call. A lot of people, a lot of the viewers and listeners will benefit from hearing your story, your journey, and what you're currently up to. So I just want to say thank you for that. So to kick off, it would be great to learn a bit about your background and what you're currently doing.
Sure. So my name is Rebecca. I'm originally from Italy, but I moved to the UK in 2015, so about 5 years ago. I moved by myself. I was 17 without my family. It was hard at first, couldn't really speak English, but then I managed to learn it. I was really enjoying London, so I decided to stay and I graduated there. I went to high school and now I'm going to UCL. So yeah, it was meant to be just maybe for 1 year, but ended up liking it and staying.
Wow, that's a big move at 17. Typically, I hear people moving to London or the UK for their undergrad studies, but you moved a bit earlier. What prompted that?
So at the time, I just felt like it would have been a very cool experience to have. As I said, I didn't speak English, but I wanted to learn it. And the UK is just generally a more accessible place compared to the US or Australia or the English-speaking countries. So I was like, why not? Let's go for a year and then let's see what happens. Then I was doing my AS levels. And then I thought, let's wait for my results. If they're going to be good enough, then I might as well stay and do the whole thing. So they were good enough. So I decided to stay, and I'm still here.
Amazing. I've had a look at your LinkedIn, and I noticed you smashed your A levels. You did maths, further maths, and economics, and you got 3 A stars. Yeah. How did you go about? What was your process like? Are you naturally very bright, or did you have to work extremely hard? What was your process?
Well, both maybe. I did have to work extremely hard. So I remember at the beginning of year 13, I made a plan. It was like early September. I was like, by January, I want to get this done. And then in February, I want to get this done. And I literally, like every single day, I would look at my goals and I would just get it done. Like I never got distracted, not even one day. So for me, it was just like that. It was a lot of planning. It was a lot of hard work because I really wanted it. Also for me, I left my whole family, my whole life behind. So I just thought, if I don't get good grades, then literally, why am I here? Why am I even here? So for me, that was very, very important. And yeah, as I said, it was just a matter of never getting distracted. I really cared about it and eventually made it. So yeah, I was very happy about that.
I mean, congrats. That's like good for you. Like you were very focused, clearly, and very goal oriented. And then, so you managed to get into UCL and you decided to study economics. What led you to kind of focus on economics as opposed to maths, for example?
Well, I did maths, further maths, and economics and physics AS at A level. And economics was my favorite subject. I was just loving it. So for me, it was quite natural to just feel like, I want to do this further. I want to find out more about it and become better at it. So it was quite natural. I never really had any doubt about the subject that I wanted to study. Also, I think economics is quite good for people that like humanities as well as maths, because it really is a little bit of both. So if you can't really pick between something like history or literature and something a bit more mathy, I think economics is in between, and it's perfect in terms of that.
Got it. And so now you're in your second year at uni, right?
Yeah, I just finished my second year.
just finished your second year. How's the experience been so far? What was first year like? What's the culture at UCL like? What are your friends and peers like?
Sure. I love UCL. I think it's a very competitive environment. I'm not going to lie. Everyone is super focused on what they're doing. Everyone has got their goals, especially within the economics department.
Yeah.
What I really like about UCL is that even if you go there without knowing anything about what you want to do in the future, if you're like, careful about your surroundings and you're into it and you care about your future career, it's going to be quite easy to just create a viable path for yourself. There's a lot of help for spring weeks, internships. You can always ask anyone for help. So there is quite a strong sense of community, and I really appreciate that because it made everything much easier.
Yeah, for sure. Now, so I'm looking at your LinkedIn, and it seems like since going to uni, you've done a lot of stuff. You've, been a part of different societies. You've done lots of different work experiences or spring weeks, etc. So how did all of that happen? Did you kind of start uni thinking, all right, I need to go in and do this, or did it just happen like randomly?
It just happened like randomly, I would say. So when I started university, I didn't know anything about anything. So I took a gap year. I had no idea what was going on in the UK. I didn't know about spring weeks. Never heard of them, never heard of internships. So literally nothing. But I was saying before, at UCL, like societies and older students, you're just going to find out about these things, even if you don't know anything. They're naturally going to come to you. And if you're interested, then you can pursue further. So I really wanted to do a spring week. That was a top priority for me. So I applied to Bloomberg, which looked like the kind of thing that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I also got involved in a lot of societies. I had a lot of part-time jobs and things like that. And that really helped me. I would say that made me grow up a lot more than the degree itself. Like when I think about UCL, I think about all of these things, like jobs, society, and so on, rather than the actual degree. That was a minor part.
Got it. And then I noticed you've got, if I just came across your LinkedIn profile, I would put you into, I would say your profile shows me you're interested in 3 distinct areas. First of which is obviously economics. So because of your degree, then I see you've got quite a bit of experience in like the tech space. So you're a tech intern at Blue Edge. You're part of UCL entrepreneurs, so entrepreneurship. And then there's obviously the Bloomberg side of things, and we'll go into what your role in Bloomberg is as an intern. But where would you say you're most passionate or interested in? And it's completely fine to say, you're still exploring, but what would you say your interests are?
Well, I'm definitely still exploring, but I would say entrepreneurship. I'm just always interested in finding a way to make things better. And I think that comes down to what entrepreneurship is. So with UCL entrepreneurship, that was very interesting because I was elected head of events, and having that title, I had the opportunity to reach out to a lot of quite important people, such as Chief Operating Officer at Google, the President of the Coca-Cola company in Europe. So
marketing at Facebook, and the list goes on.
Yeah, we had a chance to speak to these people, to reach out to them and organize events together. And that's something I think that sticks to you, because if one day in 5 years' time, I'm going to want to, if I'm going to have a question about something at Google, I know that I can reach out to this guy and he already knows me. So I believe he's going to be happy to help. So I kind of did it for myself, but also for other people, because I gave the opportunity to hundreds of UCL students to also get to see and get to know these people. But yeah, so sorry, back to your question about entrepreneurship.
Okay, fair. So this summer you're interning at Bloomberg, and then previously you did their spring week. Is that correct?
Yes.
Got it. How did you go about securing that offer? Was it this traditional application, interviews, assessment centers?
So for people like me that did the spring week, there's just one step in between. So you get fast tracked if you are successful in your insight week, and then you have to do one assessment center without having to apply in the first place. And if that goes well too, then you got the internship.
Amazing. And between applying and actually securing your summer internship offer, what would you say were some of the challenges that you experienced? And that could be challenges that you faced with other applications to other organizations, etc.
I would say maybe the length of the application process, because at Bloomberg it involves quite a few different steps. So you have to do an interview, then another interview, then an assessment center. It really involves being prepared to do different things rather than just having one interview. And that is something that maybe just makes it a little bit harder, because you need to prepare for different things.
I mean, a lot of students make the mistake of just using one application, copying, pasting to all their other applications, and obviously that doesn't really work in the end, because companies can see it's not as specific to that company. So you have to take the time, I guess, but it's the only way to do it, right? Okay, so you're a sales and analytics intern at Bloomberg. What does that entail? What does a sales and analytics intern do at Bloomberg? And how are you enjoying your internship so far?
Sure. So I'm loving my internship so far. I'm really loving it. I think Bloomberg is the best company that I came into contact with. I would never change it for anything else. So my role in the internship involves calling a lot of clients and trying to understand what they need and how to help their workflow. So it goes back to what I was saying before. I like finding ways to make things better, and that's exactly what we do at Bloomberg. So we try to understand what the client needs. Our clients work in finance, the vast majority of them, so mostly asset management or investment banking. We call them and we pitch new features. We gather feedback, and over time we try to make things better. That's what I do most of the time.
Got it. And is it a 10-week internship or?
7. It was supposed to be 10. They made that a bit shorter because of the pandemic. So
yeah,
7.
fair enough. And so if there wasn't COVID, would it be in the London office or in the Rome office, if they've got Rome office?
They don't have an office in Rome. I think they have a very small one in Milan, but they have a massive one in London. So yeah, I would have been there.
Yeah, their London office, they've actually recently built it new, I think in the last year.
2017.
Looks so really cool, but hopefully you'll be there in person in the future at some point. Yeah. Okay, cool. And how would you say their internship is structured? Is there like a project that you have to work on throughout the internship, or are you just doing, on the desk type of work throughout?
So what I really like about it is that we have quite a lot of independence. So we have some macro themes, some macro things that we know we need to get done, but then the way we structure our day is up to us. So we have the freedom to structure our day in whatever way works best for us. We also have a few projects that we need to do. So for example, we organized a webinar on liquidity risk for some of our clients interested in that topic. And then a few other little things that are quite specific. So I'm not gonna get into that, but yeah, we do have projects.
Yeah.
We have a lot of training as well. So we learn a lot about all the asset classes covered on the Bloomberg terminal, all the key market players, so PMs, traders, analysts, and obviously the key functions on the Bloomberg terminal, because at the end of the day, that's our product. So we need to use it we need to be able to use it well.
Yeah, I remember once, was it Bloomberg? We went to Bloomberg, I think. We went to their offices as on a university trip or something like that, or one of the insight days or something. And their canteen, it's all free food and stuff. Yes. And then the person that was teaching us or giving the presentation, they were like, there's a function, I forgot what function it was, but you enter the function and then you could see people selling their cars and stuff. So it's like a marketplace as well, and you just see lots of Porsches and fancy cars, and it was typically a lot of the traders and bankers out there selling their stuff. So there's a lot of stuff on the terminal that you never really think about. That surprised me as well.
Yeah, it's an incredible software. The coolest thing about Bloomberg, I would say, is the point where you finally get to understand the full potential of the terminal. It's incredible, especially for people that are interested in finance. That terminal can do things that I think nothing else in the world can do.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's kind of like been the go-to and dominated the market for the longest time. It's like whenever you think of, you know, market specific terminals that, you know, finance professionals, investment bankers, portfolio managers need to use, the one name that comes to your head is Bloomberg immediately. So it's got that powerful brand as well. Going forward, what advice would you give to, like, I know you're still doing your internship, but next year there's going to be a new batch of interns coming in. What advice would you give to them to kind of stand out in the internship and kind of perform well?
I would say first, be yourself, because they can tell if you're trying to, you know, be a person that you're not really, and they're really going to appreciate if you truly are yourself and you always speak your mind, because they are looking for confident people that can add value to the company. And a person that is just trying to look and be what is expected is just not going to add too much value. So I would say just be yourself and always speak your true mind. Say always treat every day and every single thing that you do as if you would be evaluated from that thing. Like everything that you got to do, put your 100% in it. Never underrate anything.
Got it.
Every single, treat it as if it were your last day, if that makes sense.
No, fair enough. That's really good advice. Question I ask a lot of people, and it's because a lot of students and graduates always wonder, oh, do I need to do a specific degree to get into Bloomberg, or do I need to do a specific degree to get into investment banking, blah, blah, blah. How much of your degree would you say you use in the role?
Zero, literally nothing. Yesterday night, I was doing a session with the Insight Week people, just to give some advice on how to convert it. And all of them, they were very worried. Like, they were asking, what did you study? Is it a problem if I'm not doing economics or finance? Answer is absolutely not. Like, it couldn't matter less, because you're going to receive all the training that you need anyways to do the job. So what you study, it really, really doesn't matter. If anything, if you study something else like philosophy or music or history, if anything, that's an advantage, I would say, because it really brings that fresh perspective that other people may not have. So I think, that's very important to bear in mind. I think a lot of people worry too much about that, but they really shouldn't do.
Yeah. As you say, like, literally everything is taught on the job. You get all the training you need, and all these companies invest a lot in learning and training provision for their new interns, analysts, etc.
Exactly.
In terms of outside of work, how do you keep yourself busy? How do you kind of, get away from work? Because oftentimes it could be, work, but it's always good to kind of have that work-life balance. Do you have any hobbies, or do you do anything outside of work that you really enjoy?
I try to do some sports, but recently I haven't really been doing that because it's just way too hot. What I do is just I try to stay with my friends and my family, spend as much time as I can with them, because it's good for my mental health, of course. So that's what I try to do to keep me healthy and happy.
Fair enough. Now, if you were to start again and go back to pre-university times, or let's say the beginning of first year, would you do anything differently? And if so, what would you do differently?
Good question. I would probably try to get involved even more with societies and just in general, everything going on around campus. So my general approach to university was not to prioritize studies. So of course I do care about getting a first or graduating with a very good grade. Of course I care about that, but I think at the same time it's very important to focus on the spring weeks, the internship, because at the end of the day, that's what we're really at university for. What's important is the future career. So if I had the opportunity to go back, I would do that even more, because now I see how important it is. Opposed to just academics. I think that's losing value over time.
Do you think you would consider doing a master's after your undergrad?
No, I don't think I'm gonna do a master's. I think I'm especially now that I'm doing the internship, I feel quite a strong desire to start working as soon as possible. I do think it's the most natural next step after university. As I was saying before, I think academics losing value like over time, like in the long run. I think that experience on the job, on the desk is much more important than doing a few more modules at university or doing a master's.
It's a good point.
Again, that's obviously just my opinion, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, no, I agree though. I do think of it like this. After a few years out of uni, when you start applying to jobs, no one really cares what uni you went to or what you studied, right? They focus on where have you worked for the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And then your career is 40, 50 years long. And so, experience for me outweighs your academic grades and, degrees per se. But yeah, I guess there's some people be on one side, some people be on the other side. Before we wrap up and before I take too much of your time, what any advice or tips you have for current students or even graduates? Because a lot of graduates, they, complete their undergrad and they're in a position where they'll happily take an internship or they don't know what to do. And you're in a position where you've secured lots of work experience, done, your spring weeks, you're part of lots of societies. Any tips or advice from your side for anyone out there?
I would say just remember that opportunities lead to other opportunities. So once you get started and you really start hustling, everything is kind of going to come automatically. So you start doing one thing and that automatically opens a lot of doors because you get to know a lot of people, and then they in turn will perhaps offer more opportunities. So I would say just don't think too much, start hustling, and then everything will come by itself as long as you work very hard and you focus.
Consistency and persistence, right?
Definitely.
That's it. Yeah. Is there anything you want to shout out or anything you're working on? I don't know, whether it's a blog, a website, or anything. Like, I like to give this opportunity, obviously, to the people I'm interviewing, because it goes on YouTube. You never know who might see it. So anything you want to shout out? If not, it's fine.
Sure. So just like literally yesterday, I became an ambassador for a very exciting project. It's basically a website.
Cool.
So it's called Wealthyhood.
Okay.
It's a very cool website that lets you manage a portfolio, even if you don't have any experience whatsoever in finance. You can still make some money and just start investing.
Is it wealthyhood.com or? Yeah.
So yeah, it's wealthyhood.com.
I'm on it.
A portfolio management app and website.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting project. It's got potential. So
what's your role on this project? You're an ambassador. Is that like a campus ambassador?
An ambassador. So just right now, just trying to increase the client base. It's very early stage.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of doing some marketing and getting people to know about this.
Got it. And so I'm guessing, so it's a startup, and is it targeting like students or is it kind of for everyone?
Young people. So not necessarily students, but I would say young people. Yeah. Got
it. What I'll do is I'll put a link to that on the video description below. So whoever sees this part of the video can just check it out. It will be linked below. Also, my last question for you is, if you're okay with people reaching out to you, what's the best way to do that? Shall I just link your LinkedIn profile below in the description, or?
Yeah, LinkedIn is definitely the best way. Also, I check that quite a bit. So if I do get a message, I'm not going to miss it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, this has been very useful. I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from watching it. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. It's honestly been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Afzal, and thank you so much for what you do for students.
No problem, no worries.
You help thousands of people every day, and that's incredible. So thank you for everything that you do.
You're very kind. I appreciate that.